Welcome to Prism Radio. Today is December 19th, 2021. It's going to be episode 1 of Prism Radio. On this show, I hope to introduce everyone to some new music, new genres, new artists, new styles. Hopefully someone will find something to play on repeat, maybe a couple days, or maybe a new favorite band, a new favorite genre or style to dive into and waste a bunch of time like I usually do on this kind of subject. But we're going to be doing stuff from all different countries, all different languages, all different genres. It's going to lean a little bit more towards the rock metal side of things, just because that's what I'm personally most experienced with. But it's not going to be all of that. I do take great care to add some variety to my playlists. I don't want to just blast you guys with a straight hour of black metal. I'm sure there's a lot of people that would find that awesome. Maybe one day I'll have an all metal broadcast and go through like my top 10 metal songs or a sideshow or something, but that's not what this show is about. This show is intended to be a prism of music and lay out all sorts of different colors of stuff for you to get into. So the first song I have lined up here is a great song that I've had on repeat for the last couple days, last week maybe. If there's anything that I really like, it's the new wave of black gaze, post-black metal. And I know that's divisive. There's a lot of people that utterly hate that genre, mostly in kind of the traditional black metal scene, and I understand that. I get that. I think it's awesome, however. This band, it's definitely post-black metal, but it definitely leans more into the post-rock sound of that, with a little bit of orchestra. Overall, just a very ethereal, dreamy feeling that I find fantastic. And he has a couple other side projects. He has a regular black metal project that he turned into deathcore for some reason. I don't know why he would do that, but all the power to him. However, this project is great. It's called Unrequited. I think he's signed to Prophecy Records. Not entirely sure on that. But the song is All Is Lost. Fantastic song, so enjoy. Alright, welcome back. That was, again, All Is Lost by Unrequited. Fantastic song. He has a couple albums, actually, now that I've been working through. I listened to that album, which was great. I'm working on listening to his previous album, Empathica, which delves a little bit more into just ambience, which I've never really been that much into ambient music. It's not as stimulating or engaging for me. It's great for, like, if you're doing studying or if you just want to chill and, play something relaxing like Minecraft or something like that. But I usually listen to music while I'm working, mostly at work, and it doesn't do a whole lot for me. I understand why people like it, it's just not my thing. But it's good on the album. It's not that I don't listen to it, it's just not something I go out of my way to find. So, but yeah, great band. Next up we have something that I don't like that Spotify does, is if you have a name for your artist, if other artists have that name too, they all go under the same page, so you kind of have to scrounge around for the artist you actually want. Like, for instance, this artist, their name on Spotify is Santa. Now, there's several artists named Santa on Spotify, so if you're looking for a specific one, you've really got to dig through. But this is also from the soundtrack for the anime Jormungand, one of my personal favorites if you really like military or PMC style shows. A great show. It was by White Fox before White Fox totally went down the stream and started churning out crap. But really, really good song. It's Time to Attack by Santa, and this is a real banger, gotta say. Love it. Enjoy.
Obligations, touch with the enemies. Fashion now, just one take. It ain't my fault, the hate, comrades, so loyal, no fear, cancel your stick with style like baby oil. Bring a bag of drugs on the Cadillac, speak for the injured, time to attack, time to attack, time to attack. Please fall back, watch the baby stay. I got a hot one, baby, baby, get. Time make the big guns look real red. Time to attack, time to attack.
and Orchard by Windhand. Great song. Not really into doom metal that much. My friend's the doom metal guy, but this really is good, and it reminds me a lot of that older 80s, 90s smoky style doom metal that we had kind of in the Candlemass days. Doesn't really sound that much like Candlemass. The lyrics remind me a lot of Candlemass. They're different enough. And I didn't know until I looked it up that their vocalist is a woman, actually. I couldn't tell just from the song, because the 80s kind of had that transition from glam rock where a lot of vocalists kind of sounded like women. But of course they weren't. And I really like seeing women in metal bands. Not that it matters, not that it makes the band better or worse, whether they have women in the band at all. I just like to see it because it's rare. It's like 99% of metal bands are just all guys. So it's just kind of nice to see, women in metal bands. And of course there are really popular ones. Yeah, Arch Enemy, of course, Landmine Marathon, Gateway to Self-Destruction, Dialathleen, Chthonic, all that good stuff. But yeah, she's really good. I didn't know that she was the vocalist, and she has an acoustic solo album. Her name is Dorothea Cottrell, Dorthia Cottrell, and it is on Spotify. Very, very briefly listened to it, and it's pretty good stuff. She might show up on a later episode of Prism Radio. If I get through listening. Maybe I'll listen to her album tomorrow at work while I'm making guns, because that's what I do for a living. But yeah, she's really good. And the next artist we have up is a Russian guy. I think he's a Russian priest that also does some music recording by the name of Alexei Latreyev. And I don't really know what genre this is, because it has kind of a rock guitar in the background. Very soulful rock guitar, but it also just has a regular kind of a soul gospel vibe to it as well. So that was very interesting. I don't remember how I came across this song. A lot of my Spotify recommendations are out of left field. But this is Repentance by Alexei Latreyev.
Солнце в закат, жизнь вперед не спешила, тут встала в конец. И устав разбираться, где прав, виноват, с покаянием иду, мой небесный Отец. Рассыпалась, как карточный домик, судьба, погасился расхлябанный жизни забор. К небесам поднимаются с болью глаза, я, наверное, тот на Голгофе распятый с ним вор. На землю капала кровь, на Голгофе с креста. Отец, прости их, звучали слова в устах. Среди жестоких людских безумных утех Спаситель умер за нас, Он умер за всех. За грехи мои ты проливал свою кровь, за болезни мои своей плотью страдал. Бог, прости, не ищу оправдательных слов, я хочу быть с тобой, я от жизни устал. На землю капала кровь, на Голгофе с креста. Отец, прости их, звучали слова в устах.
and All the Time by Tim Reaper and Comfort Zone. Fantastic drum and bass. I have a specific type of drum and bass that I like, and this is maybe a bit of backstory, Prism Radio lore. If I like this specific type of drum and bass due to Salty Bet. Now, if you don't know what Salty Bet is, it's a fighting game that plays itself on Twitch TV, and what it does is it's like an old, like imagine Street Fighter 2. It's that kind of thing, right? And it has characters from all different series, games, shows, whatever. It could be literally anything. It runs off of an engine called Mugen, and people can make their own characters and develop their own characters for it and then submit them for other people. And what this channel does is it downloads hundreds of characters and they fight each other. And then you and whoever else is watching can place bets, not with real money, but points basically. And they'll just play music in the background. And it's on like a massive list of like 3,000 songs. Last I checked, it was several thousand songs. And a lot of that music is drum and bass, and it's a very specific type of drum and bass that Tim Reaper just nails for me. So years and years ago, I had like a Salty Bet binge for a week or two, and now that specific style of music is just drilled into my skull. And whenever I hear that specific type of drum and bass, I just latch onto it. And that plus Grip Combat Racing. The soundtrack for Grip Combat Racing is almost, well, it is all drum and bass, but again, it's the specific type of kind of subdued bass, drum and bass that I really like. So between Salty Bet poisoning my brain and binging Grip Combat Racing for like a week straight with my friends, my ears are just skewed towards a very distinct style of drum and bass, and that's what Tim Reaper does really well. So I really appreciate his music. I think it's really good. It's really good study music without being really mellow like a lot of other study music like taiko or ambient. It's engaging enough to not be boring without being chaotic that you can't focus on what you're doing. And for that, I really enjoy it. And if on the topic of video games, I guess I have to mention, I finally got around to playing Borderlands 3. Really liked the first one. Kind of liked the second one. And Borderlands 3 has a fine gameplay loop. I don't think a gameplay loop was ever Borderlands' problem. I think from the first game they had it figured out for the most part and kind of streamlined it. But the world design, the combat, the gameplay loop was never an issue for me. The issue was always the writing and the story, which is not a new complaint. I think most people feel that way, which is all the more confusing as to why they didn't do something with it. I don't think anyone ever remarks on the first writing or story because it was such a backdrop. Nobody really cared. You were there to find the treasure vault, and so you did. And in the second game, they started adding more story threads, and just everyone hated it. Everyone hated the writing. I think for the most part, I've never seen anyone praise the writing for Borderlands 2. Every single line of dialogue had to have a joke shoved into it, and they're never funny, and that makes it really grating to listen to. Which is all the more confusing why, instead of fixing the dialogue, they just rolled with it and made it worse. So now every line of dialogue has to have two jokes. And they're very predictable, formulaic jokes, where at least on more than several occasions, they were saying a line of dialogue in-game, and in my head, I was like, I already know the punchline to this joke, and sure enough, it was exactly what I thought it was, because it's predictable and it's formulaic. And it's the same kind of thing that Marvel does, where they have to say a line and then undercut it with a very sarcastic joke. Like, if you find a really cool gun, and he says, oh, a little new gun never hurt anyone. And then in my brain, I'm just like, I already know what he's going to say. And sure enough, what does he say? Except the people that I shoot with it. Ha It's probably funny the first time, I imagine. When you hear that exact same style of humor about 50,000 times, it really stops being funny. Enough on that, though. We're going to keep going with a great song, Have a Nice Life, 40,000. and that was Stranded by Red Vox. And if you know Red Vox, you know how I know him, but most people don't know who Red Vox is, and they're a independent psychedelic prog rock band from Manhattan. And I know they are an indie band. I know the vocalist Vinny has said that he doesn't like calling them an indie band because he says that indie band has a very specific sound that people expect and respond to. And as you can tell, Red Vox is definitely not. When I think indie rock, I get a very specific image of the people and the sound. And Red Vox is definitely neither of those. I think they lean a lot heavier into the psychedelic and the prog rock school of music rather than indie rock. But that's my favorite song by them, and one of my favorite songs in general. And they have a new album coming out pretty soon. I don't know if it'll be out before the end of the year, but within probably the next month, I would say. He said he's finishing it up. But they released 2 singles from it. Both were really good, so I am looking forward to it. And the previous song, Have a Nice Life 40,000, it's weird because a lot of the music that I play, like I said, I don't want to play anything that's too popular, but sometimes songs and bands get very popular within their niche subgenre. So Have a Nice Life got really, really big in the post-punk world. They're very different. They're a very unique sound. And the first time I listened to it, it blew my mind how it just goes from very soft, subdued, post-punk kind of noise-ish to just blasting beats and bass. And it was super hype. So it's weird because on one hand, your average person who listens to the American Top 40 has probably never heard of Have a Nice Life. But on the opposite hand, I know there's going to be people out there who do listen to post-punk and they're just like, everyone knows Have a Nice Life, dude. Yeah, some hipster you are. It's like, all right, chill, okay? It's not my point. My point isn't to play the most unheard of music, but to introduce new music to people who otherwise... Some people just don't go looking for new music, and that blows my mind, because that's like a daily thing I do. But, whatever. My whole goal is to just introduce them to something new. And we're going to be wrapping it up. Last song is going to be Lost Song Part 1 by Anathema. And that's going to wrap it up for tonight. Again, that was Lost Song Part 1 by Anathema, my favorite band of all time, off their album Distant Satellites, which I ignored for several years, and I'm kicking myself for every day that I go along not listening to it, because I expected it to be like their other album, Weather Systems, and it turned out to be a little bit different, so I just ignored it, and I was like, oh, that's not what I like. I want Weather Systems Part 2. And it wasn't that, so I ignored it, and it's dumb, because it's a fantastic album. So I will see you next week. Again, this is Prism Radio. Hopefully I would like to make this a weekly thing. But have a good night, and God bless.